The founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, is one of the richest people who has ever lived. So obviously, when he isn't flying through space or getting blackmailed by tabloids, he relaxes at his new private estate in Hawaii that costs millions. Life has got to be pretty hard for Jeff Bezos right now. In the early 90s, Bezos had the revolutionary idea to start an online bookstore called Amazon. Nearly 3 decades later, that little company that started with a parental loan of $300,000 is now one of the most successful companies of all time. For quite a while, Bezos was known as the most wealthy person on Earth, with a bank account that would make fictional rich guys like Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark blush. While he used to be the richest man in the world, at the time of this video he is valued at only $201 billion. This puts Elon Musk at the top position with $281 billion. Honestly, I doubt he can even show his face at those eyes wide shut billionaire parties they probably have in the skull of the Statue of Liberty. Luckily, he just bought the nicest place to lay low in the entire world. Bezos and his girlfriend Lauren Sanchez recently purchased a beautiful property in Leperos Bay on the island of Maui. This Hawaiian locale has everything you'd want in a private beach property. Surrounded by lava fields, this scenic paradise has lush greenery, a 700 square foot pool, an outdoor kitchen, and a giant fire pit. It even has a quaint 1,700 square foot guest house, because just having a room to stay in would be ridiculous. Perhaps the biggest feature the La Perouse Bay property has for Bezos is its privacy. Seriously, while many others flaunt their new beach homes to anyone on Instagram, you can scarcely grab a photo of this place that isn't from a helicopter. Seeing how things went recently for Bezos and Sanchez, it's no surprise that they would want a place as far out of sight as humanly possible. In 2019, Bezos publicly accused American Media Incorporated, the company behind the National Enquirer, of trying to blackmail him. According to him, they claimed to have embarrassing text messages and pictures exchanged between Bezos and Sanchez. Well, instead of giving in to their alleged demands, Bezos went public with it and decided to weather the storm of late-night jokes and memes. The last few years have seen him get a very messy divorce to the tune of billions of dollars and him stepping down as CEO from Amazon 27 years after he started it. So what do you do when even Steve Carell is making fun of you? You go to pretty extreme lengths to get away from it all. Seriously, this beach property may very well be the biggest Maui has ever seen. Reportedly, Bezos had to bring his famous negotiating skills to the table to land his dream spot. Apparently, this has been in the works for some time, and it required an undisclosed sum to be donated to the Hawaii Land Trust to secure things. The property was previously owned by Doug Scatz, a Colorado-based businessman who purchased it for $4.2 million in 1996. While that may have seemed like a big chunk of change to secure the place in the 90s, nowadays you have to be the first man in history to hit $200 bill to move in. That's because buying property in Hawaii is now more fashionable than it ever was before. All the cool billionaires are snatching up beachfront properties now, not just Bezos. For instance, Mark Zuckerberg of Meta, has been buying up controversial amounts of the island of Kauai since 2014. He famously has a $100 million compound there already, which he recently expanded for another $53 million. His presence there has caused quite a stir after he built a 6-foot wall around his property and various lawsuits he's tried to start against other families. This has been described by some as borderline neocolonialism, surprising everyone who figured the guy from The Social Network would be a perfectly pleasant neighbor. Oprah Winfrey also has dropped a lot of money in Maui, purchasing a humble farm on the island for millions. She's now made it into a beautiful vacation spot. Knowing her though, there's a good chance you can look under your chair right now to find that she's got you a Hawaiian beach house too. Bill Gates, the Obamas, and Beyonce are among the other celebs who have properties in Hawaii, making it the go-to vacation spot for the rich and glamorous. Most notably, Larry Ellison of Oracle has made his goal in life to buy as much of the island of Lanai as humanly possible, turning it into a health utopia. So all in all, Bezos is far from the most eccentric billionaire on the islands, nor is this property his most lavish piece of real estate. As far as property portfolios go, Jeff Bezos has built exactly what you'd expect from the man who has made it his life's goal to become the real-world Lex Luthor. His Madison Square Park, New York apartment has gotten quite a lot of attention. In April of 2020, Bezos dropped $16 million on a 3-bedroom condominium. This is no surprise considering the fact that he has already dropped millions on owning the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th floors of the building. While Bezos founded Amazon, his penthouse looks like it was designed by Apple. The spotless white interior is gorgeous, but what really stands out is all the open space. In New York City real estate, there's no bigger flex than open space. While his New York space highlights everything modern, his space in Washington, D.C. is just the opposite. In 2016, he paid $23 million on a former textile museum and then dropped another $12 million renovating it. Built in 1914, the 10-bedroom, 8-bath estate has a classic American style through and through. If that wasn't enough, he also bought property across the street in January of 2020 for another $5 million. My personal favorite of his properties may be his Beverly Hills location. While Bezos is famously a sci-fi fan, his gorgeous California estate looks like something you'd buy in 21st century Middle-earth. Lush greenery overlooks the entire estate. It's covered in trees, gardens, a pool, and even a full tennis court. For the guy who has made it easier to buy whatever you want without ever having to leave the house, this is kind of surprising. The estate was previously owned by former president of Warner Brothers, Jack Warner. In February of 2020, Bezos dropped $165 million on the property, making it the most expensive sale in California history. Which is really saying something. The estate spans 8 acres in the prestigious Benedict Canyon neighborhood. Kinda hard to top that. Currently though, his ranch in West Texas is the one that's getting the most buzz. Of course, that has less to do with the ranch itself and more to do with the gravity-defying hijinks he's gotten up to down there. Jeff Bezos has been an avid fan of all things space travel his entire life. He modeled the Alexa after the ship's computer in Star Trek, appeared in one of the Trek movies, and saved sci-fi's The Expanse from cancellation because it was based on one of his favorite book series. So really, is it any surprise that he would do everything in his power to make this dream a reality? In July of 2021, Bezos launched himself into space with the help of his company Blue Origin. The 11-minute ride was apparently the trip of his lifetime. That's good because it apparently cost $5.5 billion for the round trip. While it was a momentous day for him, for all of us that were earthbound, it was seen as one small step for man, one giant leap for entitled rich guys everywhere. This trend has caught on with everyone from Richard Branson to Captain Kirk himself signing up to do a quick zero-gravity spin around a spaceship. Currently, dozens of billionaires and Hollywood actors are signing up to fly through the stars for under 30 minutes. So yeah, you can thank Bezos for this trend going on forever. The Jeff Bezos spaceflight joins some of the other ridiculous purchases he's made over the years. He has a $500 million super yacht that puts even the over-the-top one from The Wolf of Wall Street to shame. He also dropped $42 million on the world's most ridiculous clock. The 500-foot-tall clock has a lifespan of 10,000 years and is supposed to represent the concept of long-term thinking. Like the kind of long-term thinking that leads to one asking, did I spend $42 million on a clock? So you see, I was right. Buying his own private resort is perhaps the most practical way Bezos has ever dropped millions of dollars. While we've got the scoop on the newest Bezos property, I still can't find any info on that secret base he's building to stop Superman. I mean, come on, you just know he's got one.